Hi everyone, it's Mich here and welcome to my channel. If you're new, thanks for stopping by, and if you are one of my returning crafty friends and kindred spirits, I thank you so much for hopping on again today. Today will be what week is it? Week 13 in the Collage with Mich weekly challenge. It is just a challenge I put together in April just so that we can have a little thing to play along with. I am using the Rolodex, so I think on my channel the playlist is the Rolodex challenge, but you know, I'm also using a Memorydex and doing a postcard as well while I'm doing it. So, and I know that there are people who are using flashcards and index cards and making tags and all kinds of other crafty collages. So if you would like to join, I do have a Facebook group which is called Mich Crafty Community. I'll put the information in the link below in the description box below, and in the Facebook group there's a free file there. If you're not on Facebook or don't want to join a group and you just want to collage along, then you can just email me, and again my email is down below, and I'll send you just this sheet of prompts. So today the word is stitch and the prompt is tuck spot. So I was hoping to have this out sooner, but things have just, as life does, come along and I'm just not organized. I have too many projects and work and oh gosh. But so I started to do with the Memorydex and some examples of some of the collages that I've done already, and all of these there is a tutorial for them on the in the playlist. So check them out if it's something that interests you. I love the peach. And I've also been putting together some Rolodex cards, and just an example of some of those this is the one I think that I did last week. I love this one. Just find a way to ride the wave, and she's on a ship. She's a little explorer. And I love these little Beatrix Potter ones. The ones on the Rolodex I do like, because it forces me to think kind of small, and I don't have any of the postcards as I have sent them all out for Happy Mail. So I've started with the three things, and I think we'll just look at the Memorydex first. This is really going to be a quick video. I wasn't even sure I was going to get a video out this week, but so the first thing with stitch is I did find some sayings. So for this card, the saying is going to be, "In every stitch a story is told." I just really love that. And I have these die cuts which I've had a long time. They're Stampin' Up. They're called Pierced Blooms dies. This is when paper piercing was kind of all the rage. So what I did is I went to my die cut and I cut a bunch of those out. So when they're cut out, you can see all the little punched holes in the flower there. So then I just sat down and I did some stitching. So in this one here, it's kind of hard to see because the actual thread is almost the same color as the flower, but I can see it, and it gives a little raised effect there, but you can really see it on this one here. So I went and I did a darker thread for that one, and then on the little pink one, the thread is kind of the same, but you can really see the thread there. And then I did a couple blue ones, but I'm not going to use the blue ones. So I just took my needle and thread and just normal thread, and then just did a little bit of stitching on there. And then I also did some leaves. So, and as I did my stitching, I was really mindful, and I was kind of thinking about my sayings for this week. So for this one, "In every stitch a story is told," and then for my Rolodex, she stitched strength into every seam. And I loved that quote. And then for the postcard, we are all stitched together by invisible threads of kindness. And it just made me think of you guys and just being kind in general. So the thing about the stitching is I did have to be mindful, or my thread got all tangled, or I was missing a hole or something, and then I have to cut the thread and restart it. So it really forced me just to be mindful and in the moment, and I really appreciated that about it. So for this, for the Memorydex, I just have this tag that I had, and I'm using just some saltwater taffy just to do a little bit of distressing on the side. And if you don't like distressing, that's fine. I love, I think this is probably my favorite color right now, is the saltwater taffy. It's so pretty. And then I'm just going to, I think I'll just get that down, and I'm going to put it down towards the bottom of this. And then tuck spot is the prompt. So what I want it to do is just leave enough of a bit of a tuck spot, that not so that the flowers are getting lost in there, but so that I can tuck a few in the back. Okay, and then I just want to get this down. So I thought that I would put a couple flowers kind of tucked. I might actually use the blue. I didn't really like this blue one because I just felt it was like too blue. But if I tuck it in the back, like down in there, I think that'll work. So we tuck that down there, and then I can tuck another little blue one in the back. And then we can just layer those sort of on top and intertwine them a bit, like so. And then, I'm kind of liking that. And then we'll stick our leaves in. So now if I wanted this as a sort of an interactive thing, then I could just not glue these down, but when it's in the memory thingy, they'd be all falling out. So we'll tuck those in, and then we'll tuck this one. It is a gorgeous day here in Halifax. We had some really heavy rains yesterday, but today the air is just fresh. There's a little bit of a coolness to it, and no humidity at all. So I'm kind of thinking something like that. So I want to get this one down, so we'll just get that down. Okay, and then we'll just tuck this one. I've got some leaves here too, because I think the leaves, and I'm tucking these. I guess you could use that as a bit of the prompt too, is that I'm tucking them in behind each other. And now I have these big green leaves that I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of like that. So I'll tuck this in here. My glue's not sticking very well today. Like so. And I hope you guys are having a good week, wherever you are. I'll be popping onto the Facebook group here in a little while. So this is Wednesday, so as soon as I film this here this evening, I just got off work and had some supper, I'm going to upload it, so it will actually still come out on Wednesday. I like these to come out on Wednesdays. And then I'm just going to put that one down there. Nice. So that's kind of cute. I think. And then I just went to my gems, of course, to find something, some gems. Now the ones that I found were kind of really big, and I wasn't sure. I wanted one sort of in between this size and the biggest size, but of course I couldn't find one. So, but I had a nice one. That size, that's pretty. And this color here, it's hard to see on camera, but it almost it matches the same tone as that. And I think I'll just use a pink gem under here to catch the light. And then I kind of thought about using one of my little brass butterflies, but then I found my little bees, and I thought a little bee would look cute there. So I'm going to put up there. It's going to put it down below there, but when that's down the bottom, you're not going to see it very well. So I think that one was kind of cute. Could add more to it. Could put a little bit of rivets, but I'm kind of happy with that one. So let's just go on to the next one. So I've already started with my postcard and put down, I just put a bunch of collaging. I just did some old papers that I had in my stash thing, and actually this was part of a napkin, and that was a little stamped image. But for this one here, I just took a bunch of images, kind of thread and stitch related. So there's a little dressmaker's form and a little pair of scissors, and I'm not really sure about the boot, and then I had this image, and I thought that I would just get, this one's going to be really simple. With these going in the mail, you can't really do anything dimensional as such, so, and I just kind of liked these images, and I thought it would look good in a journal too. So I like that. I've already inked around that edge. And then for my tuck spot, I was going to use this thing here as a tuck, a little tuck pocket. Okay, and then it's crooked. So then the saying, I'll just get that across down here. We're all stitched together by threads of kindness. And I just want you guys to know that I so appreciate you guys. Ever since the start, you've been very kind to me. And then this is going to be the little tuck spot, which is in there. Now, I kind of toyed with the idea of putting one little stitch in the top and seeing how that would go if I decided to mail that out. But then I thought, well, they could all get caught up and get all torn up, so I'm actually gonna fasten them down a bit there. And that's as easy as it gets. So, you know, your collaging doesn't really have to be really intricate or take a long time. I would like to have something up there, but I don't have anything to hand. Actually, what about, no, I was thinking maybe like a little piece of washi tape or something. And like I said, I can't put dimensionals on there, so I'm just going to leave it there. I might find a little banner or some washi tape or something that I could put up top there. But I don't have anything to hand, I don't think, in my, I mean, I just have other, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. So But there's that one. So then the last thing is going to be the Rolodex. So I have, this ruler, it's a Tim Holtz ruler. I've had it a long, long time. And the reason that I actually bought it was because of, it's got the centering 0. So I can put that and find my center and make measurements for binding my junk journals and whatever. But this also has, and I'm not sure now where my pokey tool is. I've got this, but this isn't what I need. Anyway, so this has, oh, yes it does. Okay. All kinds of holes already drilled in the ruler. And what this is for is that you can line up, I hope my head doesn't get in the way. You can line up wherever you want a row of holes. Get a little bit of foam. This is just something from the dollar store probably. And then, so say I wanted this to be 1/4 of an inch off of the edge, then you can just go along and poke holes. Okay, so you can have a line of poked holes. So what I did is I used that, and I've already gone ahead and I poked a bunch of holes. Well, I put my card layered, just some scrap on top of my Rolodex. Okay, and then I went around equally and poked all my holes all the way around. But I also put in this little piece of paper so that I've got some little a couple little tuck spots. Okay, and then I just took my thread and I just sat and did a type of blanket stitch, except for instead of the stitch, this part being on the outside, I made it so that it was on the a little bit on the inside. So I stitched all the way around there, which I thought was kind of cute. And then I've got my saying, she stitched strength into every stitch. And as I was stitching this, being mindful, I could have also distressed that, but I didn't want to. About how, we need to be strong and we need to stitch that into our souls. So then and I did distress that before I sewed it in. And then I just went around and I found some little things. So I've got this little rose we can tuck in there. And this can be like a little ephemera holder. I've got a little ticket and lucky number 13. And then I just put a little, some little crochet cotton in there. Oh, and I got another little ticket. I think two's good there. And I got like a little wax seal we can stick in there. And then the reason that I pulled this is because I was thinking that, but I don't really like that look, is I could take my scissors and make another little tuck spot on the top on here. So we could have like a little pocket that you could put a very small something there. So you could glue that on there, and then that could be like a little tuck spot for something. So that's an idea. And so yeah, so then that was my little Rolodex idea. Now the other thing that I did want to do is I thought about some of the things that I would have in my junk journal, like in the pockets of a real junk journal. And I thought, well, I like having little places to journal. So I thought, well, let's do just a little accordion fold type of envelope. So we can do like a little envelope thing. Like so. We'll go this way. And this can be like a little envelope. But then when you open it up, you've got all this place to journal. So that can tuck into our pockets. And then they do look a little plain. And I did have this idea about that. But I didn't really like how that looked. So you could put just a couple little flowers or something there. You could doll it up. But those are my 3 projects for this week. So we have our stitched, paper pierced paper stitching for our memory decks. We have our little stitched edging, and then we just have just a card with the tuck spot, and our stitching is sort of implied there. So I hope you did enjoy that, and again, sorry I was a little bit late for this, but better late than never. So thanks again, and until we meet again, I do hope that you stay safe and well, and bye for now.